All right, so this is going to be a special speaker session on legal framework for redevelopment of cooperative housing society. I'll repeat once again, legal framework for redevelopment of CHS. It gives me absolute pleasure to introduce our next speaker for today. He's the esteemed managing partner of Advent Advocates and Legal Consultants, LLP, who will cover legal framework for redevelopment of CHS. A highly respected legal professional, he specializes in civil, corporate, and redevelopment matters, representing clients before the Bombay High Court, RERA authorities, and various judicial forms. He currently serves as the president of the Bar Association of Maharera Advocates, representing nearly 500 advocates practicing before Maharera and its appellate tribunal. In addition to his distinguished legal career, he brings incredible value of corporate experience from leading organizations including ICICI Bank, Vodafone, Reliance Broadcast, and the Hindustan Times Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please join hands together in welcoming on stage, like I mentioned, the managing partner of Advent Advocates and Legal Consultants, LLP, Adv.Anil D'Souza ji ke liye zor se taali, please, as he makes his way to the stage.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure. And the stage is all yours.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That was quite an introduction. Now, in the previous presentation, Zia ji ne itna aag laga diya ki fire alarm chalu ho gaya. So I hope we don't reach that level. So what we are here to talk to you about is something very interesting. So if the range is fine, I would like to move down. Is that fine? Okay, I'd like to make it a little more interactive. तो जब प्रदीप जी ने मुझे बोला कि ये सेशन 7:30 को आपको आना है, so I was thinking to myself, 7:30 को कौन उठता है भाई to come all the way from Andheri to Colaba? Can you tell me who wakes up at at that unearthly time to come all the way to Colaba? So, sorry? Smart members. Very good, correct answer. So when I stepped out of my house, I saw a lot of students going to school. And then I realized that learning is a lifelong cycle. I saw these children with their bags and next to them there were the mothers ensuring that their children go to the Vidya Mandir. And that's what exactly has happened over here. So you are your own mother and father and you have brought yourself here to the session. So give yourself a big pat on your back. Now if you remember, the physiological requirements are kapda and makan and roti. Is that in the correct order? So what is the topmost thing? Roti and then kapda. But you need a makan for that and that's the reason why you are here. So you are handling something extremely important. Now taking you to another point wherein if you remember 2007 and 2008, an economic depression hit the whole world and that was known as a subprime crisis. The whole world's economy was crashing because of one sector and that was the real estate sector, the lending and financing to that sector. So you can imagine what kind of a wonderful, great, fantastic industry you're all part of. So now pat the neighbor on your side. Okay? So I come from a company known as Advent Advocates. So Advent is like the short form for an adventure. So daily we go on to an adventure. This is another short adventure which will take you on. Coming back to the school analogy, when we had an exam, so we used to do something very fast and that was LMR. What was LMR? Last minute revision. So in this presentation, there is nothing new. There is nothing new which I'm going to tell you, but yes, it's like a revision. It's like revisiting certain points, trying to understand what is going on and therefore, I was thinking of moving and coming right there. Okay. So that's fantastic. So feedback is very essential. I like that. Thank you very much. So if you know the acronym TEAM, so together everyone achieves more. So I'm also here on this adventure with two of my team members, Adv.Anil D'Souza, who is extremely good in your paperwork and documentation and society work. So he is the secretary of his own society for how many years? 100 years. Okay. So he knows in and out about everything about societies and how to bring them to the table and how redevelopment can progress to societies, right? Okay, and we also have advocate Shivang Mishra, who takes care of all the RERA real estate projects, agent registration, project registration. Now the reason why they are here is because we want to be the link between Maharera and of course a lot of things in the litigation space and the non-litigation space. But this presentation is purely to just highlight a few legal milestones, the legal points. So all of us are aware of certain numbers. 2/3, 51%, C1, C2, ये सब क्या होता है? Just let's consolidate that and let's find out what's really happening over here. Okay, so when and why redevelopment? So everybody knows about the age factor. So every time your building ages by 5 years and 5 years and 5 years, till you touch the 30-year milestone, and there your FSI can be a little higher, a little better, a little cluster, a little road facing. So all these factors come into play. And of course, you have the structural deterioration that takes place. You can have in the last presentation, we found out that there could be some quality issues in the building, but also age kind of depreciates or deteriorates your building. So there could be some structural issues. And of course, there are some audit findings that we have. Now, in school, when we had the first rank, we were supposed to be the best. But in this audit finding, if you have a C1 report, it means that you're going in for a very important thing, and that is called as trying to understand how fast we can get into redevelopment. And of course, there are these other infrastructure gaps. As you know, most buildings are 3-storied, 4-storied. You need to go up and down lifts, senior citizens issues. People want health clubs, maintenance, and all these kind of things happening. They want good roads. They want community development. Parking नहीं होता है. Everybody now has 2, 3, 4 cars. जितने लोग members है घर के, initially 1 car used to wait for 5 years. But now you have 5 cars in 1 year. So all these factors are there which lead you towards when and why redevelopment, okay? Now, of course, like I already told you, there are certain structural audit requirements when we look at bylaw 77. Now, building age, now if you have a building which is 15 to 30 years, all audit requirement is every 5 years it is required. But once you cross your 30-year category, then you need an audit every 3 years. All the answers are on the board. So there is, it's all there out there for you. Now, if you have an audit, your audit reveals that your building is dilapidated or unsafe, then redevelopment becomes absolutely necessary. And that's where all of you come into the picture, because you are going to be the catalyst for that change. So now let's go in the reverse direction. You have a green signal over there. Everybody knows traffic rules. Oh, we follow all the traffic rules, okay? So green signal is for C4, very good, 4th ranker, but your building is in good condition. Then you go a little higher, something like a blue, sky blue. Most gentlemen like the color blue. C3 is a little bit of minor repairs, a little bit over here. No evacuation is required. Then we go to the orange signal. Be ready, be prepared. And there we have something known as a C2. And that is when you need to do a little bit of major repairs. Here something is required, and that is evacuation. Evacuation could be necessary. You don't need to take down notes and everything. Again, we will send you the entire PPT. There are 35 slides. We'll go through it very fast. We'll just highlight important points so you are aware of certain things. Then we go to the red signal, and that is your C1. Okay? This means your building is unsafe and it requires immediate demolition. So try and understand that this is as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, but in the reverse direction. Then we come to the prerequisites for redevelopment. What all is important? Of course, there has to be a society. Fantastic. We should have chocolates when people are answering. So society registration is very important. But along with that, you have to have a duly elected managing committee. Now, this managing committee is coming on the front page of Times of India. Very regularly it's coming because of redevelopment, especially the South Bombay side. There are beautiful articles written about managing committees and how they are, very important over there between the society and the developers. Then you have, of course, the title, the conveyance. So if you don't have conveyance, then societies go for deemed conveyance. Now here developers are coming into the picture, and they're helping societies get conveyance, deemed conveyance. So my society is one of those parties. So where we are asking the developer themselves to help us get the conveyance. And of course, you need to have something which is there like a book, a textbook, and those are your approved plans. Does the building have an occupancy certificate? Are the approved plans, all those kind of things. Do you have access to that? Now, we have realized that our society is scrambling for these documents. So we have to have these documents in place, because legal is all about the black and white word, the written word. And therefore, your approved plans are very, very important. Now, this checklist is very important. I suggest you take a photograph just for memory's sake. Okay? And then, of course, you have your other documents in the list, like you have your property card, your title search report. Title search report usually comes from a law firm, you have a legal firm, you have advocates also who give a lot of these title search reports. And then finally, the city title survey plan. So this in a nutshell is something which you all need to know at the back of your hand. So everybody's, I'm sure, gone in and out of these kind of things hundreds of times. So if you know why we are showing this is because most of these things now are compulsory when you register a project with RERA, MahaRERA. Now, who are the key stakeholders in the redevelopment? Obviously, everybody knows that the main party is the housing society. All of us are part of the housing society. They are the primary custodian and landowners. They're responsible for the governance, voting, and transparent decision making. Now, each of these terminologies are extremely important. And then, in the middle, you see the developer, the main person, trying to do everything possible. I was just sharing notes with one of the developers here, and you know how we beautify our one beautiful home. इतने अच्छे से प्यार से हम लोग उसको इतना खूबसूरत बनाते हैं. But a developer puts his heart and soul in the entire building, trying to make the entry, the lift, the branded stuff and all that. So I think they really put in a lot of passion, and I've had some few meetings with some very good developers in the past, and they tell me how they get into every single detail of the branded steel, cement, and you know the other cabling, the wiring that they use, the plumbing that they use. So developer is extremely important, but more so in redevelopment over here, it's what you will get, what the society will get. And then, of course, you have the sale component. So you can imagine how many parameters he has to look at and identify when he puts himself in that position. All the approvals, he is going to take the power of attorney on behalf of the society, go and take all those permissions, approvals. Is it possible for any one of us? हम लोग self redevelopment बोलते हैं, but the kind of checklist that we have to go through is amazing. Like this presentation itself has got 9 stages, 35 slides. There are more than 19 steps that we can look at when we look at a holistic view of redevelopment. And then, of course, you have the PMC, the most important and the reliable person over there, the project management consultant. Now, there is a beautiful balance over here of all professionals. You have an architect, you have an engineer, you have a chartered accountant, and of course, you have the legal team, also part of the PMC sometimes. But mostly, it's highly technical and professional people who are there to give advice to both sides, to the society as well, and also to the developer. But mostly, it's the PMC who will vet all the documents, and they will get you the developers, they will look into all the aspects of the development. So in a nutshell, I don't know which is more important. I feel all three are equally important, and that brings us to a very good number called as, okay, let's take it to the next slide. Okay, so now we will see what is this, what are the common failures and what is the solution that we can look at. Now what happens over here normally, first point, lack of member confidence because of secret decisions. People feel that A party is doing something, B party is doing something, उसको ज़्यादा मिल रहा है शायद, उसको एक parking ज़्यादा मिलता होगा, एक bedroom ज़्यादा मिलता होगा. So there is a lot of this kind of fuss-fussaving that is happening, and this is a reality. So you have to face it. How to circumvent that, how to answer that. Actually, in the previous session, we somehow got an idea how to handle that. Of course, the second point is a non-transparent tendering mechanism that happens. Usually we feel that, oh, we want the best developers, the biggest developers. And that is important because they come with very strong financial fact sheets, very strong balance sheets. But at the same time, there are a lot of these committed and budding and, you know, very strong ancestral acumen they bring along with themselves. So developers over here, you know, they try their best to make it as transparent as possible. And then, of course, the PMC tries to get you 3. The ideal number is 3, but it's always between 3 to 5 tendering that happens. Then we have your arbitrary appointment without competitive fairness. This is something which, you know, ticks the alarm bells. Now, when I mention about my company, there are 2 parts to it. Like you have the Kanun ka tarazu that we saw. There is a litigation part, which we actually go in courts and we stand and we represent matters. And there is the non-litigation side, where we have to do documentation, vetting, and, you know, trying to evaluate, this is better, that is better. So here comes the word arbitrary appointment without competitive fairness, and lot of issues start happening over here. Unfair agreements with the terms unfavorable to members. So we have a society recently, 1 BHK and 2 BHK. The 2 BHK people were less in number. The 1 BHK guys were more in number. So when the redevelopment deal was happening, all the 1 BHK guys said, we want road facing, we want this and we want that. So although somebody had a kind of 2 BHK, but they were lesser in number, and therefore they were facing the other side, the back facing. So all this kind of leads to a lot of these litigation issues which will put bottlenecks, you know, and you will not be able to go ahead. So we can share with you lots and lots of these issues. Of course, again, I'll give you my number. You can buzz us and we can get you into what probably we could do there, what probably we could do that, you know, so we can help you out in these things which you feel is small, but once the matter goes to court and then 10 years is gone. Of course, we have poor coordination and lack of professional planning. उसके नीचे और एक होना चाहिए all of the above. Okay, some societies have all of the above and more. So when we give a checklist to clients, we tell them there are 17 on this, but you can bring your 2 more because there are certain things even clients bring from somewhere which we are not aware of. So always that's why it's called a practice. Every day you get better. So what is the mandated solution for this? Now I want the house to say these words. Ensure fairness, ensure transparency, and protect members' interests through a legally binding step-by-step procedure. I think Adv.Anil will come into this over here. He's very dangerous. I also get scared of him. What all you find out. Okay, so I saw a beautiful symbol in one of the builders, the developer's visiting card, and it was a swastika symbol, you know, the Labdi logo. I liked it very much because it talks to you about continuity. And here you have a clock. You also have that in our flag. So you can see that there is a cycle over here, and this is beautiful. So you have an SGM over there at 12 o'clock. Or you have to have SGM approval. This is a burning issue which all members should feel in their hearts. Everybody's crossed 40, 50, 60. So the SGM feels that, okay, 1 extra bedroom, 1 extra parking, amenities. People can't walk 4 stories, so we want lifts. Then you have the PMC appointment. And frankly, like what the previous presenter said, Bombay is so busy, and I love the word Maharashtra because everything over here is Mahan. Everything happens clockwork. Everything is grand. It's very difficult to get a very good PMC because all of them are so busy doing redevelopment work in Bombay. So a big hand to all the PMC guys who are doing so much of hard work and doing fantastic work in Bombay. Okay, the PMC appointment is very important. Then comes the feasibility report. करना है, नहीं करना है, कर सकते हैं, नहीं कर सकते हैं. So many parameters, rental issues, corpus issues, bank deposit issues, location. Because of redevelopment, automatically rentals of a place go up. So many factors to consider. And then of course, you know, how, what is the sale component which is available, what is the component which we give to all the existing society members. इतने सारे parameters और points हमको ध्यान रखने पड़ते हैं. The tendering process over there at somewhere around at 4.5, 5 o'clock. Then you have the developer selection. This is extremely critical because everybody wants the best. Okay, even the developer wants a good deal. So developer selection is very important, and the transparency over here, we get such kind of deals and proposals that we are shocked. We are like, how could you go ahead with this? इसमें तो ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, वो नहीं है, वो नहीं है. And that is why when we feel that between a doctor and an advocate, people end up going to the doctor because they did not go to an advocate. Okay, so we always tell you, prevention is better than cure. Be proactive, get a good advocate, find out what is happening, and ensure that you have a proper developer selection with all the terms and conditions and clauses intact. And then comes the signing of agreement. There are a couple of documents which we have to sign. There are a lot of short forms which we will share with you. You're already aware of this, but we will tell you a little bit more in detail. Then of course, you have the construction oversight. Acha, agreement to sign hua. Baki sab, everything is in place. But can we understand what bags of cement are coming in, what cables are coming in, everything? Can we keep on following up? Can we be a part of the process and not wait in my nice rented 1 BHK, 2 BHK and expect everything to happen? No, be a part of the process. That is what we encourage the societies. And then finally, you can see a beautiful certificate. I think they will also get a certificate at the end of this. So we'll get up. So there's a handover happening. Now here again, you have lawyers coming in. Is the builder giving all the proper documentation? There are 2 types of things that happen. One is the statutory documentation handover, and one is the financial handover that happens. So you have the existing society members and you have the new sale component members also. So इनका एक joint society बनता है, and this is a very important stage when there is a handover happening. And of course, then again a happy SGM back again at 12 o'clock. Okay. So I told you this is all about numbers. Everybody is just giving you a lot of numbers, but we will talk to you in terms of percentages. Okay, so we'll not go into real numbers. So we have the SGM. Now, how many people out of 100 should feel that they need to go for redevelopment? It's over there. Our answers are all over there. Okay, so 2/3. You have to have the feeling that okay, हमको ये करना ही है, हमको जाना ही है. We have to go in for it, and then when you have an SGM, when you have a meeting, this is not about the members present, okay? Remember this. This is about the number of members in the society. And then when you want to go in for this, how many people have to approve? 51% has to approve. So now there is a big 49% over there, which you guys need to also take care of, okay? So there you can see down over there, we have written documentation. You need member consent, non-consent, recorded with the names and everything, okay? So this slide we have put in orange, not green and not red. It's in between over there. Okay, so now comes the very important stage of PMC appointment. God bless you if you get a fantastic PMC, because he is going to be your game changer. Okay, so now the project manager and consultant acts as your trusted and expert advisor throughout the entire redevelopment process. He is your eyes, ears, and is responsible for safeguarding the society's interest, because the society appoints a PMC, ensuring quality, timelines, and cost effectiveness, because remember, they're all professionals over here, so you need to have everything documented with certification. Navigating technical complexities and regulatory approvals. This is not a layman's job. You have professionals in Bombay, Maharashtra, so you have more, but Bombay is the mecca of all these people. So definitely, we are not that worried, because we have the best people over here. Okay, obviously they should have a professional registration. They should be okay, what about your background? Are you empaneled with other societies? Okay, here also we are going to have an official empanelment. Also empanelment with a lot of aggregator bodies. Okay, so there are a lot of these aggregator professional bodies. Are you empaneled over there? Are you recognized by all these certification in institutions which give you that kind of recognition and accreditation? Then you have the comprehensive technical competence. Again, a mixture of knowledge, experience, last kitne societies mein apne kiya hai, and proven redevelopment experience. Okay, now you see the points over here. It's self-explanatory. We'll quickly go through it. You have the managing committee invites quotations from qualified firms. Then you have your shortlisting. You have 5-6, lucky to get 5-6. Your MC evaluates proposals and shortlists your candidates. Then, of course, we had gone recently for a voting in a society. It was 100% up this thing. So you have an SGM voting where members select the PMC in an SGM, okay, and also the legal team which is going to be between the society and the PMC also. And then, of course, you have the official appointment. A letter is issued within X amount of days, whatever the society feels right. Feasibility report, step 3. What about your technical scope, definition, existing condition, FSI, TDR, calculations, design options? ये सब आपको आपका PMC बना के देगा. Financial, very, very important. Remember, I told you there's a CA also sitting over there. Cost estimates, budget, allocation, and your ROI potential. And of course, the break-even cycle and all that if you go a little adventurous. Risk and market, like I said, adventure. Market value analysis, Borivali mein karna hai, Andheri mein karna hai, South Mumbai mein karna hai. We have people from New Bombay, builders from New Bombay contacting us. But they are very happy doing redevelopment over there because their rules are a little different, market conditions slightly different, demand supply slightly different. So, and of course now because of the airport, again there are a lot of dynamic changes happening. So there is never a dull day in the life of Mumbai and of course the other satellite areas around it. Regulatory risks. Unfortunately, there is no one single window clearance, unlike Dubai and other cities where there is a single window clearance. But here we do not have that kind of luxury yet. So there is a lot of bit going back, forth. But of course, your builders are very savvy on this. Timeline risk and mitigation strategies. Agar ye ho gaya to kya karna hai, ye hua to kya karna hai. So to preempt that, to be proactive, ye ho sakta hai, to give you that kind of idea. So that's why you need guys with a lot of experience. Your tendering process. The principles of tendering, and of course what should be the key tender components. Competitive process hona chahiye. There has to be transparency. This word is coming back again and again. Legal protection. Everything is BHC, the Honorable Bombay High Court. हमको वो समझ के उस तरीके से हमको सोचना है और छोटे से छोटा ड्राफ्ट भी हमको सोचना है कि अगर मैं ये ड्राफ्ट कर रहा हूँ, will it be admissible over there? Will it be admissible over there? So it's called like a little bit of backward integration, reverse engineering that we go through. Always remember this document has to go through that muster, and therefore we go a little more into detail. Member confidence. Of course, when you have a very good PMC, you've got some very branded builders out there, member ka confidence automatically mazboot rahega. What are the key components that we're looking in? Technical, commercial. Commercial is very important. Carpet area, the word is back since 1st of June 2017. Otherwise, it was there were different connotations of the area that somebody is getting super built up, ye, woes, and everything. But now it's come back with the RERA carpet area definition, which you all know. 20% of project value, rent details is coming up again and again. Legal, over there also, over here also. So everything is legal, roti, kapda, makan, legal, and internet access. Achha, 5 cheez ho gaya abhi. Process. What is the process over here? Are we announcing to the whole world? Is there an advertisement? Is there a legal notice that to be sent? Is there some litigation which is already happening over here? Is there some member who has not paid? So we come across people where there are 100 guys, 2-3 people have not paid only. And somewhere there is a surfacey, so therefore the bank has now taken possession of that apartment. So abhi kya karna hai? Abhi kaise ye handle karna hai? So a lot of these things come up. So you have to be a little aware of all these things. Okay, now of course, tendering process, we do a lot of, everybody does over here, advertisements and legal notices in the newspapers. At least 2 newspapers, because we talk about 2 languages. So it's usually Marathi and it's usually English, of course, and Marathi. So these are the 2. In Bombay, we do that. Documentation, again, we have technical, legal and TLC bol sakte hai, tender loving care, or technical, legal and commercial sections. And secure, mandate and earnest money deposit to ensure the seriousness of the developer. So you will find that happening in a lot of these branded developers who come to your society. I'm very happy to hear that Mr. Hiranandan is moving more towards standalone and suburbs and all that, because I think very soon we are also going to have one big cluster development in Andheri East. Now, this is a little important over here. If you realize that the offered benefits, this is where it is. Where offered benefits is just 15% of your consideration. हम लोगों को मिलने वाला क्या है? That is just 15%. There are other factors which you should look into. Now, this is an eye-opener for all of us, because you need to understand that when you're evaluating or selecting something, bande mein taaqat hona chahiye, experience hona chahiye. 30%, 1/3 importance. Financial capacity. You cannot go to somebody who's already, kind of bankrupt or already having NCLT matters, and you do a Google and you'll find out there are so many litigation issues with this person. So financial capacity hone chahiye bande mein, So we have kind of developers who are also into other infrastructural projects and who have a big kind of backing as far as a group dynamics is concerned. Some of the biggest names, all of you know, all of the best developers of India are in Mumbai. So are we considering those as well? What is that they will bring to the table? What they bring to the table is their financial bandwidth. And this is very important for your house when you're going to give it in somebody else's hands. Technical competence, 20%. Offered benefits, whole house, offered benefits, 15%. Kitna milne wala hai, extra bedroom, extra parking, whatever. And of course, timeline, realism. If you get all these factors right, timeline automatically, apne aap, it'll factor in. Okay? Is there any red flag that we'll look into? Yes. The red flags are right down over there. I think they should have been right on top. Poor track record. Ask some RERA advocates. Financial instability. Ask. Okay, whatever. Ask Google or AI. Or no Maharera registration. Now, very interesting thing about, again, Maharashtra and Mumbai is that everything happens fatafat, clockwork. Recently, Mr. Modi ji made a beautiful statement. In a positive way, I looked at it. He said that Maharera, of all the RERAs in India, Maharera has a recovery rate of 35%. So the question is, who is second? Who is second? Practically, no one. So a big hand to everybody who is part of Maharashtra story, because RERA is successful. RERA is doing well because of the government's intervention, constantly asking for reports. So this is very, very important for us to understand why Shanghai, Singapore, Dubai, why we give those role models. I'm sure all of you have been to all these cities. It's because of governance, because of tenacity. And that's what happens in redevelopment, which is a very, very, very important sector. Okay? So Maharera registration is very important. The Maharera is so dynamic that in the last 1st of May, we celebrated the 9 years, 2017, 2026. Correct. So 9 years this institution has stood. They have gone through, I think, 3 chairpersons have changed. Some of the best people in Maharashtra, gold medalist IAS officers are given that chair. And right now it's Shri Manoj Saunik ji, who is amazing. You got to meet that person. So you have to understand who are the key stakeholders, which is this regulatory institution of redevelopment, which is the regulatory institution, and that is Maharera. Just like for stock exchange, you have SEBI, and for food and drug administration, and you have your income, your insurance, IRDAI. So same way, we also have a regulator which is doing a very good job, and it needs your support. Okay, so now of course, now I'm not going to go into the details over here, developer evaluation selection. Everybody knows that we need to look into all the 5-6 tenders, minimum 5 हम लोग बोलते हैं. Evaluation होगा वहाँ पे, final एक shortlist निकलेगा, and then you have your final selection. Method होगा, either it is through show of hands or ballot box, whatever. Usually there is always a video recording happening. So this is the thing where MCs organize that it should be a transparent process. So your SGMs and all, it's not mentioned here, but your SGMs and all are now all video recorded. Everybody is become smart. And of course, I already told you about the numbers, 2/3, 51%. So now it is 51% of the members present in the meeting, right? No. Oh, you can imagine how important this is. Eligibility, selected developer must have at least one Maharera registered project. And there are, I think, some 44,000 projects registered in Maharera right now. And it's a beautiful website. I compare it to, every time I tell this to Mr. Sonic, he gets little this thing. I tell him it's like NASA. It is so deep. It is so much of data, so much of information. You can get whatever you want on this site. Initially, we had to find RTI, वगैरह ये दो वो दे. अभी RTI भी मिलता नहीं है. RTI तो ये not applicable ये वो. So you don't need RTI at all. Every single document is uploaded in Maharera. You need to have a very good Maharera advocates or legal team who will help you navigate that. All of you must be already doing this on your own. It's very, very simple, but it's got so much of information. And the website itself has gone to 3-4 changes, imagine. But they have not let go of their archives. We advocates ensured that when the third iteration was happening, so we were involved in the beta testing stage. PwC is the firm which is doing it. So we put our foot down and we said, no, I want to see the archives. I want to see, I should look that side, I think. All the builders are looking at me. So I want to see what was uploaded on the 1st of June 2017 by the builders. That is not accessible. And now, thanks to Mr. Manoj Sonic, that also is accessible. What the builder had initially, I'm giving out a lot of secrets over here. So that is also accessible. 2017 में developer ने क्या बोला था और अभी project अभी तक complete नहीं है. So everything is accessible to you, all of you guys. And you need to pat yourself on the back again because you're part of Maharashtra. Development agreement and PAAA. Everybody knows, just let me know on the time factor also. So DA and PAAA, and there's another important document, the POA, which is again a very important, you can say a roller coaster ride which your developer is going to take, but he needs that. So here is where your legal team steps in. You breathe legal, you write legal, you think legal, everything will be sorted, okay? So pre-agreement finalization, this is where you come in always. You know, you always tell me, dekho, check karo before you jump or whatever. Okay, before signing, the word before is very important. Like when we say grace before meals, when you eat food, you say, you bless everything. Must be locked. Architectural plans, is it going to be beautiful, flamboyant? Or am I more concerned with one extra bedroom? Cost breakdown, detailed correctly. Carpet area, very important now because that super built up concept is gone. So we have to understand this terminology. What is RERA carpet area? Vis-a-vis some carpet area which I heard 25 years ago when you had to wait 5 years for a car? Okay. Corpus fund. What is the corpus fund that the society is going to get? And the transit rent. Now, each of these terms is very heavy. You already feel that, oh my God, so many things that we need to look into. But all of these are important factors. Like the previous speaker said, what after 2 years the developer is not able to pay rent? Ghar bhi gaya, rent bhi nahi hai. Abhi kya karenge? So, this is all very important because they are all living in these societies. Some of the most critical agreement clauses, and this is where our non-lit section comes in. Again, carpet area is, okay, just make a note of that somewhere. What is the RERA carpet area? I'm not giving any answers. You got to find out. You have AI now. And you have the RERA book, it's in my bag. You have the bank guarantee. What is the mandatory? There is a highlight on the color over there. Highlighted color. How much? 20% of the total project value as security against non-performance. Oh my God. Builder will say, sorry, we don't want to go ahead with this. I think I'll go between a 15 to 17. I'm like, okay, fine. We always look into that. Your transit rent, which is very important. Again, the area, if it's Andheri, Bandra, depends on that area, how much of rent you're going to pay. Timeline, generally, now the benchmark, I really wish we should have something. What is the benchmark for completion of a project by the Supreme Court? Very good, excellent. Who is that gentleman? I heard that. So 3 years is the timeline which is required. And in a place like Dubai, nobody waits for 3 years. All your buildings are done within 3 years, and that's the speed in which they want to create and sell. Okay, so that's the commercial carrot. And your defect liability clause. Now this is also there as part of RERA. Recently, Vasant Oasis, you must have seen that in Times of India and Midday. So we use the media a lot to educate the people. So we are constantly in touch with Midday. Another one, big one is going to come out. I don't want to name the group. Okay, another big one is going to come up because a lot of these structural liability issues happen after the OC. After possession, leakage ho raha hai, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai. So Midday runs a lot of these orders which come. Now this is very, very important. What is my PAAA? What are the key features? Now in PAAA, what happens is you sign it separately with each and every member. it defines your specific individual benefits, floor and carpet area, registered under the Registration Act 1908. This is a binding. And member will vacate only after the PAAA is registered. Approvals and vacating site, key regulatory approvals. Of course, there is a sale component. And when there is a sale component, it has to be registered with RERA. Should I give some secrets out? So since we are talking about South Bombay, I don't think I should say. So there are developers who know how to get past the RERA registration. Don't ask me. I'm not going to tell you. So RERA registration is important if it's more than 500 square meters and also more than 8 units. I give you the answer almost. Okay. So then you have the intimation of disapproval, clearance for demolition of the building. You have these two basic documents. Only if you have these two documents, then you can register a project under RERA. If you don't have these two documents or whatever, then builders start selling also without these two documents and without a RERA registration. So that's where the problem is. Paisa gaya, but of course, because of demonetization, a lot of cash has gone out of the system. So this has also become a little bit of black and white. There is no gray area that much now. And of course, there are your other mandatory clearance like your environmental clearance and your fire clearance and NOCs are required. There was a very landmark classic building in South Mumbai as we speak, which had this problem of NGT. Very classy, best building probably. Talks about your compass. 360 West. Okay, so there was this NGT issue over here. So you see how these things which are there at the bottom of the slide, they creep into the best and the biggest projects of India or probably even the world. Of course, then you have the vacating procedure. I'm not going to get into that too much. It's a mandatory or whatever. They have its own timelines and all, a 45-day period. Construction and monitoring, understood, site labor, labor camp, storage, site office, soil investigation and foundation work. A lot of these basement parking is not happening because it increases the project cost. But end of the day, everybody is fighting for parking only. So this is one big issue. But of course, parking ko bech sakte ho because you need to have your basement. Bombay mein wahi problem hai. Lot of basement developments are not happening and it's creating a bottleneck later on. And fights. Construction schedule, you have to have a bar chart. Nuisance prevention for neighbors. So I know CCI is doing a lot in Borivali East, but they are also developing beyond what they've already built. So now the current guys, the society members are saying like, no, we don't want that noise. You know, so all these kind of factors have to be kept into mind. A lot of these live examples we can give you. Security, health and insurance policies. Vis-a-vis everything, product, people, insurance against everything. Construction and monitoring, again we get into those three, T, Q, T. Okay, technical, quality, timeline. Completion and the OC, this is like the blessing, you know, like the manna from heaven. So you have your milestone completion. The building is fully constructed as per the approved plans. All major structural and finishing work is complete. Okay, there is a long checklist that you get to look into it. Then you have the inspection. PMC, society forms its own little bit of committee and they all go through the entire inspection thing and they identify if there are any defects or deviations from the plan, creating a defect list, a snag list that we call. Then you have the remediation. Kuch hai kya abhi karna hai isme. Developer is required to rectify all the identified defects at his own cost, obviously, ensuring the final product meets the agreed upon standards. So now that's like the dream. Okay. Now the OC issuance, occupancy certificate, most important document. It's like getting the gold medal, you know, every 4 years in the Olympics. Final step. After all checks are passed and remediation is complete, the municipal authority issues the OC certificate certifying the building's safety and legality. So important is this document that if you have this document, a lot of issues at RERA disappear overnight. In fact, in 2017, if you already had a OC, you didn't even have to register your project. So this word and this term is so important that literally we can make a tattoo on that, you know, and keep it. It's come back again. Okay, so what does the OC guarantee you? It guarantees you your structural safety, your regulatory compliance, and suddenly you don't get a notice of BMC कि आपका ये complete नहीं हुआ, फिर SRA से और MADA, whoever is your authority of that particular plot, वहाँ से notice नहीं आना चाहिए कि आपका कुछ regulatory compliance बाकी है. Now I mentioned the word handover. Remember now all this is coming back. Fidelity to plans. इतना करना था, इतना किया, कितना sale component, कितना ये, कितना वो. We are getting queries from both sides. Existing society members also the sale component people. Legal possession finally affirms that the building is legally ready for residents to take possession of their new home. Of course, now comes in your mind the pricing factor. Before OC, what is the price, PSF? After OC, what is the price? All these things get inbuilt. Project handover and closure. Final inspection, your seal of approval. Before the keys are handed over, a joint inspection is arranged for every single flat. Who participates in this? Of course, the individual flat owner, a representative from the developer side, a representative from the architect side. What is the purpose? To meticulously check the completion and quality of all the internal finishes and ensure everything is as per the agreement. We want that, right? Does it happen? Yes, it will happen. When you go through all these presentations and you come for these kind of workshops, you will ensure that it happens. So here it is, flat allocation, membership formalization. There are two kind of parties over here. I told you, one is the existing society and you also have the new guys coming on board. Now there are issues there also. So again, advocates have to come in and they'll tell the old society guys, take these new guys on board. The new guys say this and the old guys say that. Ye sab bahut chalta rehta hai. Parking. These guys, old guys, will promise some parking. Now the new guys are saying, humko bhi chahiye, ye, wo. Lot of these things are happening. Final AGM and then the official transfer. I'm not deliberating on this a lot. Of course, now there is a recap. Do you want me to do this or is already gone there? Tuck, 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 like a computer. Okay. Again, since the slides are going to come to each and every one of you, we'll just take those those points that we looked at, the 9 points. SGM for redevelopment, PMC appointment, feasibility report, tendering process, developer selection, DA, development agreement with the society, the power of attorney giving the power to the developer to go ahead and take all the statutory regulatory approvals, and the PAAA, approvals required IOD and CC, then only you can register the project in RERA. So you can see there's everything is backward integration over here. Actual construction and of course the OC and the handover. We'll just go through these slides, okay. All these things are there, entire books are there, you can go through all these books. MOFA was there before RERA came in, so MOFA was trying to this thing, but MOFA did not have an authority, a designated authority for this. So now of course we have RERA. Thank you. Remind me of ice cream. Okay. Developer duties, MOFA, no alterations, whatever. I'm just doing this because it's mandatory, all these slides. Okay. Thank you. I'll give you my number. Try to keep it short because all of you are all gurus and gyanis. So my number is very easy, 99300 62000. Okay, the shunya is very important. I think we Indians invented the shunya. Okay. So 99300 62000. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, sir. I'll request you to remain on stage. शून्य sir ने कहा important है. खाली उसके पहले कुछ numbers और add होने चाहिए. वो important है. But anyway, we'll take a few questions. So can we pass the mic, please, over there?
So also as far as questions are concerned, we won't deliberate much on that because the next session is an architect session and the third session is again on the legal framework. So collate your questions and try to give us some snippets of your experience.
Correct. And
because there is a technical, the DCPR is happening next by architect Manglani. Yeah, sir.
And kindly introduce.
And there's a proper legal workshop happening at 1:15. Yes.
He's taking the first question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Mr. D'Souza. Fantastic presentation.
Thank you. God bless you.
Lot to learn. One important question, if you can just highlight on the building completion certificate, how that is important after OC.
Oh my God. I told you, I give you the metaphor for that. That's like your gold medal. So there is a huge checklist, sir. There is a huge checklist which ensures that you reach over there. So there is this concept. Now I understood this a little more in detail, known as part OC also. So that again is conditional. So there is a lot of these mandatory checklists which I can share with you if you can buzz me on my number. I'll share this checklist with you which leads you to that occupancy certificate. Some places also known as completion certificate. There is a difference between your Mumbai limits and outside Mumbai limits. Now these are all technical things which we can do the whole day. So there in outside Mumbai limits you have the Gram Panchayat, the Zilla Parishad also certifying your buildings. Okay, so we have those projects as well and Bombay is separate. So I can share with you. Sir, your good name?
Both the documents are same, OC and BCC, or they are different?
There is a little bit of a difference, but there is a lot of similarity as well. Okay. So there are certain technicalities. And again, if you look at that checklist, it talks about multiple authorities. So to reach there, you have to comply with a lot of other things. Like I give you the example of 360 West. Everything was perfect. You ask AI what was the issue. Why did NGT get into it? And okay, let it slip. it was a parking issue. Okay, so I want you to do a little bit of research, like a little bit of homework for the students. So go through that and understand why they got stuck. You will understand how these minutest things can, manifest. Manifest is a very big word now. Can manifest it later. So we'll take your, I'll send you the checklist,
Yeah,
okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
Ketan Gosa from Prithvi Estates.
Okay, nice. Thank you so much. Prithvi, I think I took your card. I like the
Hi.
name. I like the name.
Hi, good morning. My name is
Hi,
Sanjay
sir.
Sippi.
Yes,
So I've
sir.
got an interesting question. A building which is a combination of society, which are flat owners, and also they are tenants.
Oh,
Those tenants are, the society is a landlord of that.
Yeah.
So when you're going for redevelopment,
Yeah.
the 51% is applicable only for the members,
members,
owners, or
members.
the tenants are also
No,
included?
it's the members only because this definition, I think just last week there was an article in the Times of India. So this tenant definition is completely different from the owner definition. Of course, again, because he's a tenant, there is a land owner also, and the landowner automatically means that, again, we're talking about South Bombay, which has,
I'm
you know,
talking
yeah.
about in suburbs.
Yeah,
I'm talking
okay.
about a particular society,
Correct.
a building, a plot, where it's say around 60% are flat owners, and the rest 30 to 40% are tenants of the society.
Right.
So now if you're going for redevelopment, the 51% is applicable only for
Members,
the owners,
members.
and the tenants we have to take NOC from them? Do
No.
they have the voting rights are counted?
No,
for
no,
them
no.
or not?
They, of course, they don't have any voting rights. But what is interesting over here, and it's beautifully covered in the past presentation also, there has to be some kind of understanding and symbiosis between the tenant and the landowner, because the tenant is not going to vacate. You got to give him something. We have these matters also, by the way. Tenant has a ground floor shop in South Bombay, you know, all these places. You know, that Atta, Chakika and all those kind of things, small shops. But they're tenants and they're there for the last 40, 50, 100 years. But now the developer is Mada. We had this one case. So a lot of these things, very complicated things. But of course, rights are always of the owners. But there is an understanding always in writing between the developer and the tenant, between the developer and the owner also. So there is this fine line, but it's very transparent. There is a deal for them as well.
We are giving them whatever they want, but can they stop, hinder? Do we have to go to court, or is it there any ruling for that?
Most of the cases, because of experience, now we have realized that this is all proactively worked out. So there is a kind of agreement which encompasses that you will not take this kind of matters to court, because we are taking care of 25 things. So there is an inbuilt clause where you say that you're not going to take this to court because I'm taking care of all these things, okay? So this is already inbuilt. And the better way of doing this is, of course, the deal sweeteners. Like I gave you this example of the shop on the ground floor. Small shop, but commercial, hai na? And ground floor, you know what value it has. Because we've got 2 ground floor offices and we have everyday people coming in and telling us, either you buy the third one or you sell us this and all. The ground floor has a lot of value for commercial. So what the developer does, because he wants the ground floor, right? He wants to lease it permanently to ICICI Bank or Vodafone or something like that. So what the developer does, let's leave it for some creativity also. Huh? But they don't sell. These guys will not sell because it's South Bombay, guys. So what the developer does is they go a little on the higher floors and they give them bigger apartments. Okay, so these things happen. This is all your offer and proposal kind of thing.
Hi, I'll just
Hi.
guide you further.
Sorry,
if you're
you want
okay
to come
with it.
back?
No,
You want to come
I'll
in?
just guide you
Okay.
slightly.
Okay.
Both the questions, OC and
Why don't you come
BCC
up?
today are issued at the same time. They are not separate anymore. Earlier there was a separation. And in your case, depending upon the scheme, suppose you are going under 33(7)(b), which is Society Redevelopment with Regulation 30, where you are buying additional FSI TDR, you don't need their consents. But if you are going under 33(7)(b) with 33(7)(a), which is claiming 50% incentive on the members area, the tenants area, then you need 51% consent of them also. If you're going for cluster development, then you need 51% building wise and 60% aggregate. So landowners' responsibilities are different, tenants' responsibilities are different. DCPR specifies where tenant consents are required, where it is not required. Depending upon the scheme that you go for, you have to identify whether the consent is required or not. I think I'll cover this in much more detail in
Great.
my presentation.
Yeah, I'll
So
take
just
this
jot
one
down
by
those
one. I'll
numbers.
take this
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
We'll take one last question for the session over there, sir. You can stand up and introduce yourself and ask the question.
Hi.
So why don't you come up?
name is
Let's do a overlap.
I just wanted to ask that where the society format is not there, for condominium is there, then does it mean that 100% consent is required or less?
So we've really not come across this condominium thing yet, as of now. So I think this concept, I think there was a Raheja condominium in Malad West. So that's the only one where I've heard there are these.
Society bylaws will not apply to condominiums, so that
No, no.
75% and 51%
Yeah.
would
So
not.
there is a different set of rules altogether for that. And I've not really come across this yet. And they had already this, I don't know if you're
Thank you
aware
so
of this, Malad Mindspace issue. Okay.
In case of condominium, each and every member is also the owner of the plot, not just a member. So you will need 100% consent of all the members because it is like having 4 landlords on the property. If 3 consent and 1 don't consent, you can't go ahead. All 4 need to consent for development.
Thank you so much. I think there's room for many more questions given the kind of interest that Sir has generated from his end. But I think what we can do right now is clap and appreciate his incredible session. He's already
All of
shared
you
his
guys.
contact number, so you can get in touch with him for further details. The networking zone is always going to be there. I'm going to